Hey guys, my name is David Nutting. Today I want to do a joint by joint approach on how to get your knee better, or how to heal your knee if possible. So the first thing you want to do is, of course, get it checked out by a doctor or a physical therapist. And once you are cleared, then I have some different exercises and recommendations that have been able to help a lot of people. So I've been in the training industry for about 25 years, helped hundreds of people get over some different things with their knees. And let me show you some of the few things that you might not have been doing. First thing I want to have you do is take your shoes and socks off. So take your shoes and socks off. I'm going to set this down and I want to show you what I'm going to have you do. So once you get your shoes and socks off, I want to have you lift your big toe. There we go. Lift the big toe without moving these other 4 small toes. Now, if you can't, press those 4 small toes down, okay? And then you want to keep the big toe down and lift the 4 small toes. You see that? Now, if I can't do that, I want to make sure I'm not rocking, but then I would just hold that toe down like that. Okay, do those 2 exercises, do it on both feet, and see how your mobility is for your foot joint. Next thing you're going to do is claw the ground with your foot. So it'll look like this. Just claw the ground without arching, but just claw the ground like that. Then the last exercise with this, with your feet, with your shoes and socks off, is pull your big toe down and push these toes away. Can you see that? All I'm doing is just pulling the big toe down, pushing those ones away. So the last one, you're just trying to hold for about 30 seconds. But it's amazing, if you start doing that daily, that could actually help your knee pain. Now, next exercise is I want to take you through an ankle mobility test or assessment. So we're going to park this right up here. If you're able to get down on your knees, if not, then just try it from a standing position. But all we're going to do is come about, I would say, between your knee and a wall, about 12 inches or so. Then what you're going to do is try to let your knee push forward and see if you can touch the wall, or see how close you can get without letting the knee cave in. So we're working on mobility through that ankle joint, because if you don't have any type of movement from your foot, it's gonna go to your ankle. If you don't get it from the ankle, guess where it travels? Up to the knee. We need mobility at the ankle joint because the knee is a hinge. It could create a little bit of movement, but it's basically just sagittal, going back and forth for the most part. Then we go up to the hip joint right after that. But first thing is, let's get a little motion there. Now let's say if I could get movement there, but I try the left one and I can only go that far. That's what's called an asymmetry, and that's probably where your pain is coming from. So then what you'd want to do is put a kettlebell or a dumbbell on top of your leg, and then you're gonna just start driving it forward and try to get a little load. The other way you could do this is put your foot up onto something, maybe like a little step or like a little stair, and then do it with your foot up. So then you're driving forward in that position. And I didn't set up something for that, but that would be the next exercise. So first thing is check your feet. Start doing that daily. If you're not getting motion from your toe or your feet, your knee pain might be coming from the foot. If you can't get the ankle mobility from one side to the other, the pain might be coming from your ankle. So start working on those 2 things. You could do those daily, which will be fine. Then we want to go from the knee all the way up to the hip. So we're going to skip, obviously, the knee. The knee pain is just coming from either the foot and ankle or coming from the hip. So think of wherever the pain site is, you go below and you go above. Okay, so next we're going to get some hip work. If you have any type of a band, this one's usually a very good, safe exercise to do. And then what you would do is I'm gonna slide that blocks out of the way. Put a band around your foot, then turn your hip forward. We're gonna contract the glute medius. When in doubt, go to the glute medius, because that's your hip stabilizer, and it does 7 out of 8 hip functions. Come on up, hold it for about 5 to 10 seconds. Just get some good firing right through here without letting the hip rotate out. So what I'm doing is I'm turning my foot down and in. And I have my clients do this one all the time. Really good on building up that outer abduction that you need working. Okay, Next exercise, if you have any type of a band, you would do both sides, do 10 reps with a 5 to 10 second hold if you're able to. And then for that one, you can mix it in a couple times a week, 2 or 3 sets at least would be the goal. Blue on this one is a little lighter, red is harder. So I'll show you with the red. So next one, you would pull the band around the knees, and then we could start by doing bridging. So push the band out, scoop and roll your vertebrae up, push the band out, and get the glutes firing, pause, and then roll the vertebrae down, okay? See that? So I'm lifting and scooping on up, and then I'm rolling on down. So try about 10 to 15 on that one, getting a nice good pause. Then you're gonna roll over on your side, and this is a 90-degree angle. Hips are stacked, knees are stacked. These are called clamshells. Again, glute medius, we're getting that external hip rotation. There's also glute minimus, and then we're getting a little TFL kind of on the front of the hip. But on this one, try to get a little pause if you can. So if you're able to order these, like the ones I have here are called Fit Simplify. Here's what it looks like. Anything that you can get on Amazon, Perform Better, Power Systems. Amazon's gonna be good pricing for anything like that. But you're gonna just get a nice little pause. We wanna start building strength into that muscle, okay? So you wanna try about 10 of those at least. And these ones you could work 2 to 3 sets throughout the week, mix them back and forth. So now we'll take the band off. So the 3 exercises from there, we did the long band, lifting and holding, then bridging. If you don't have any band, just do it without a band. And then clamshells. Working on all 3 of those. Okay, so next, let's go and stand up. And if you happen to have, let's see, I should have found a spot where I could wrap this around. Let's do this one instead. If you could do your band, either a long band or this type of a tall band, I'm gonna park you right up here. I didn't mean to drop you. Sorry, everyone. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna put one of these bands under your feet. So let's start with a small circle band. These are called mini bands. Now what I want you to do is I want you to lift straight up. So a lot of times we don't have enough strength in here to support when we're walking. So it's kind of neat because I once had a client who had knee pain. I had him do a leg extension, and he had been used to doing that before. He liked doing that, so I had him try it. It hurt him. Well, then what I had him do is this exercise. We went back on the leg extension. All the adjustments were the same, no pain. So sometimes it might just be one thing that might trigger in order to unlock and kind of release. So it's great. So you're gonna stand on the band and then you just lift. So these bands could do a world of work for you. They're gonna make a big difference for you. Nice and tall, core tight. Try 10 reps each way. Then if the band is light enough, we're gonna point those toes and feet in. Then I want you to just slide back and forth. And this is called a band walk. So a mini band walk. Toes pointed in, and then we're just sliding back and forth, just like that. So you can mix those in, the knee tuck, the kind of the marching movement, and then the band walk. Those work really well. Okay, your next exercise that you would do is right here. So from here, if you're able to stand on one leg, let's bring that leg back and then rotate your hip up and then rotate down. If you could do that, hold it for 5 seconds. If you see that I'm rotating up, rotating down, that's called a hip airplane. That one you could try about 10 reps if you're able to. Okay, then the next exercise, if you can support yourself, hold on to something. Then I want you to stand on the left leg. Don't have to bend the knee much so you don't put pressure into the knee joint. But now let's come down with this opposite hand. And I want you to lengthen through the hamstring and the glute. I'm trying to keep my hips nice and level. So I'm extending back. So that's called a Romanian deadlift. Single leg Romanian deadlift. The last thing I would recommend is if you can grab a tennis ball, come up against a wall, hold it in a sock and then push against it. 45-degree angle, and just start loosening out that area right through there. So those are some different ones. You could also go into a little bit more advanced, where if you start using your leg kind of like this, if I'm down here like this, and then I can kind of lengthen and push down onto like a little small yoga block or a rolled up towel. Oops, sorry, get the mat out of the way. So I'm just rolling out, pushing down. Rolling out, pushing down. Trying to get some good length, a little bit of quadricep contraction. Another exercise you can mix in would be if I was sitting here up on something. Let me see if I can try it like this. And then from here, all I do is then I just swing my legs. Just like that. If you can find something just to kind of get some leg swing. Biking is also usually nice. Just do a stationary bike, level 1, just go nice and easy. Those are some different exercises that can help. I have a bunch more, but feel free to message me below if you have any questions, because I could help you. I've helped people prevent knee, hip, lower back, shoulder, and neck surgeries over the years. And a lot of times it's building up the foundational movements, then it's loosening up. And so if you notice, I built the foundation, then I showed you what to do to kind of loosen up. The loosening up you could do daily, which works really well. I hope that helped. It is free to like and subscribe, and I upload 2 to 3 times a week, trying to help you to feel pain-free and to live without aches and pains. Thanks, and I'll see you next week.